Okay, so that's the interview. Kamala, part 2. Working. Now, what the hell's going on?
Well, I've heard a lot of incidents with you, and especially I've heard incidents with you and Andre the Giant.
Yeah,
Can you tell us about that?
yeah, I got along with everybody in the business, everybody that I ever wrestled. Everybody that I ever wrestled in the business, and I wrestled a lot of them. Andre the Giant in 1982 was the first one that that was my first time ever wrestling him, and anybody that big. And we was in Oklahoma City, and we was where we couldn't sit down and talk to one another. We was in different dressing rooms, and at that time, kayfabe played a big part of the business. And what we did, they sent the finish back and forth by the referee, and it must have got kind of mixed up. But in the ring, Andre and I, it's some spot in there, maybe I messed it up. But there was no reason for him to call me a name and curse me like that.
What kind of name did he call you?
I just wouldn't.
Just cussed you?
Yeah, just cursed me, and then he pushed me up off him, and that really pissed me off.
Right.
And so when he got up, I had him by his hair, and I drove back in the corner and I beat the living daylight out of him. I'm not saying that I could whoop Andre the Giant, but I did then. Yeah, I got that one in, but I don't ever get another one. Yeah, at least I won't now, because, God bless his soul, he's deceased. But anyway, after that, the next day we was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where we could mingle with one another. And I went to him, and Dick Murdoch was living there, and he was in there. And I stuck my finger on Andre's nose with my left hand. And I had my hand on my 357.
357?
Oh, shit.
In my pocket. And I had my hand on it because that big bastard, I don't know. And so I told myself, Andre, don't you ever do that again. And he, all balls, with that French accent, all balls, I'm sorry, I don't think. I said, well, MF, get to thinking from now on.
He said he had his 357.
No more problem with Andre. I wrestled him all over the world.
Did he actually see your gun, or did you?
No, he didn't see the gun.
But you had it with you.
I had it with me. I had it in my pocket. I had my hand on it.
And if you had to use it?
I would have used it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it didn't come to that because I'd still been in prison.
Right. Well, everybody wants to know, how do you get along with Vince when you're there at the, when you first met him? Tell me the story when you first met him. How did you get along with Vince?
But when I first met Vince, it was in 1984, I think, at the Titan, Tuesday Night Titan, I think that was called, in Baltimore, Maryland. And he had sent word he wanted me to come in. I had Andre the Giant looking for me, wanted me to come in. And so I met him there. And he seemed to be a fair man, nice man, and he wanted to talk to you, so he set up a meeting. And we met at his office a day later. And he was telling me about he believed in treating everybody fair, all his talent fair. He said because he believed in that old saying, what goes around comes around. He was a decent man, a real nice man. And to this day, well, the last time I was around him, he still was a nice man, know how to talk to you and everything, but he just won't pay.
He just won't pay
He
you.
won't pay certain people.
Did you ever talk to him about that, not paying you? And what did he say?
I talked to Vince a few times. I called him up, and I had a couple of meetings with him, and he told me, said, I think you're doing all right. But I was about to start a deal.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, when I say start a deal, like a lot of fans said, from the looks of me, it don't look like he's starting a deal. But no, not that. I don't mean it that way. I mean, a lot of things I couldn't do, like you see, like this home here. I couldn't buy me a nice home big enough for me that I would be comfortable in, like compared to my opponents or other guys that I work with.
Right. Now I have one of the fans sent me an email, and he just wanted to know. He said he heard. Of course, I don't know where he heard it from. He heard you blew all your money.
Yeah, I got emails saying the same thing, that I blew all my money. But how can you blow what you don't make? I don't do drugs, and I'm not a. I used to drink a little bit, but I'm not an alcoholic and never were. And I always wanted me a place to stay. If I had a blue money, I would have had this little place. But the little money that I made, I put it right here.
Well, how did you get in the ring with Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Undertaker, and how did you not get in the ring?
That don't.
I don't understand. How come you didn't get the money equal to what they had made? I mean,
yeah, you should have had something. I heard. I guess there were newer interviews at the time. Saying the same thing. Like, how the hell? Because even before the Taker, going back to Hogan and Andre, like, how did? So that ain't right now. Not saying he's gonna get the same money as Hogan, but still, how did boy, that's something.
they made a lot of money. What happened? What went wrong?
You know, Jimmy, I ask myself that sometimes. What did go wrong? I was in main event with those guys everywhere. Everywhere. Madison Square Garden, the LA Coliseum in Los Angeles, Japan, Canada, everywhere. And those guys were making their money. They couldn't make it by themselves. So I was a part of that, but still I just got to scrap it. And I can't understand that to this day.
Now, is it true that it's so? I mean, gosh, it's so crazy. But I heard they even had hotel rooms, and sometimes you had to actually sleep in your car.
Yeah.
That's bad there.
A lot of times I slept in the rental car. You know, me, Kimchi, and my manager, Harvey Whitman. We would all go in together and rent a car. And so when we rent the car, that night we had a hotel. So when I could afford it, we would split the hotel. See, I already split the car. And I just couldn't afford to split the motel every night. Now, some nights I did.
Mm-hmm.
But, excuse me, I had to have money to send home, to take care of my family, take care of my welfare at home.
Right.
And so that's why I would cut corners like sleeping in the car. Sleeping in the rental car.
Right.
It wasn't my car, it was the rental car. I would do that.
So you actually made more money elsewhere than you did WWE.
Yeah, and that's even funny because that's the biggest organization in the world, the most wealthy, and I was there and didn't make any money.
Right. Well, I heard there's another rumor a fan brought to my attention. They said that one time, now I don't know if it's true or not, they said you were kicked out of a dressing room.
Yeah, I was kicked out of the dressing room, not one time, but one more time. But I don't mean physically kicked out of the dressing room. It's like I have to put all my paint and stuff on, and I always get to the building early.
Right.
That way I can get me a decent dressing room.
Right.
Before everybody else. I get there, put my paint on my face, and while I'm sitting in the dressing room, the agents, Vincent Stoops, would walk by and see them in the dressing room, and they go back outside, they take little tabs and put Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Undertaker, any of these guys' name on the door, and that means that I had to leave out.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't think that was fair. So I had to leave out the dressing room and go in there, find Kimchi and Harvey Whitman with fine oak curtains and tie them like up in a corner or something like that, and I get in there and get dressed. And in the winter time it was cold, summertime it was hot. So anyway, that I stayed right there.
So they would ask you to move to put like Hulk Hogan or in that room, and they would ask you to move somewhere else. That's just crazy. How come you didn't have your own special room, Kamala?
No, not for me. Not for me, they didn't. I just don't know. I called at the Vince attention. I called Vince. I talked to the agents about it first.
They said
they
back,
didn't do nothing about
that. Back then, they all dressed together. Maybe Hogan had his own whatever, but like, I thought, what happened to? Okay, I guess. That's the '80s, so I don't know.
So after that, I talked to Vince about it. Vince, I didn't know that was going on. It was a big company. I didn't know that was going on. So he said he was going to look into that because he wasn't going to have things like that going on in his company.
And
nothing ever changed.
Nothing ever changed.
Nothing ever changed.
So Vince actually didn't do anything.
No. That was just for me to hush.
Right. I've heard a lot of bad news about Vince. Is there any good news about Vince McMahon? Or, I mean,
the only good news I know about Vince is when you talk to him, talk to you so calm, so nice, so pleasant, even different from his gimmick you see on TV.
Right.
Yeah. But what Vince is dirty to you is with that pencil.
Right.
The payoff.
And what was his excuse, like, when you talked to Vince, what was his excuse every time about your payoff? Did he say he's going to make it, he's going to treat you better the next time? Or what did he say, actually?
Well, he told me that he said, I think you're doing all right. You're doing better than you think. And I heard him say one time that you're making more money than you would on the job. But I didn't consider that was a 9 to 5.
Right.
Yeah, that was entertainment.
Yeah, 9 to 5 is different from that.
All the people that we drew. I know I didn't draw them.
You on TV.
Mm-hmm.
But neither did my opponent.
Must be another part. Okay, yeah, this is getting interesting because how the hell? And you had action figures back then, and I know for a fact the 80s and the 90s figures is worth something. I don't know about the newest one, but the one from the 80s and 90s, they worth something. The figures. And I'm talking about he's doing all right, but he's doing all right, but he's in a shoebox. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Well, how did you get along with the other guys in WWE? Was it pretty good to you? Or?
They was good to me.
What about Downtown Bruno? You just mentioned his name, Harvey, there.
Yeah, I got along good with him. I got along good with everybody.
Right.
I got along good with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Even my opponents and the guys that had high positions, like Hogan, and I got along good with Andre after our little incident. I got along real good.
Oh, he's talking about that.
And but most of the guys didn't because Andre was a big guy and he hated big guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I have seen him mop the floor with some of your top guys that's out there now. Well, during my time, that's out there now. Everybody was afraid to work with him except me.
Mm.
Right.
And during the time when Andre was in the ring working with guys, you would see all the guys from the dressing room. They'd be peeping out the door because they know Andre gonna mop the floor with him. But when I go out there with him, they weren't looking because they know.
Because Andre, kept hearing he was only 7 foot. I mean, and the 7'5" thing wasn't true. I don't know. And then I heard Kamala. He was like 6'7" or 6'6". I didn't know he was that tall. I knew he was tall, but I know he was that tall. But I know he said Andre didn't like what's his name? Other big guy, Stud, Big John Stud. So he didn't like him, but because Stud was 6'10". I remember him. And they said Andre beat the mess out of him. But yeah, I don't know if he picked a Kamala now, but I don't know about that.
He wasn't gonna treat me that way.
Oh, he wasn't having that.
Right. Well, I read where you said that in SummerSlam 92, you were with Undertaker at Wembley Arena in London, correct?
I did, yeah.
I read where you said Undertaker payoff was $500,000.
That is true.
And yours were only $13,000.
That is true.
So you mean to tell me,
Wow.
you wrestle Undertaker, he gets $500,000, and you get $13,000 is all?
That's all I got. The Undertaker got $500,000. This is not something that the Undertaker told me. This is something that I saw with my eyes. And I got $13,000. I'm not saying that Undertaker was not worth $500,000, but what about me? I think Undertaker is worth every dime that he gets.
Mm-hmm.
But what about me?
Right.
I guess I'm worth nothing.
Damn. The man couldn't even get 40,000. We say 1,300 or 13,000. Can't even get the man 40. Wow, that's something. And I know Taker. He said 92. Yeah, Taker was the new guy. Not saying they're gonna get the same money, but damn, that is rough.
Because that's what I got. Was nothing.
Well, do you think, in your heart, do you think racism played anything in the WWE? Do you think there's a lot of racism there, or what do you think? Why?
I really do. I really do, especially toward me, because I don't know, is it because I'm from Mississippi, and then they, you know, a lot of people in the North, they consider people from Mississippi as being way behind, dumb, stupid, and, you know, things like that. But now, I've seen, I was the type,
Now see,
mind my own business.
here we go with the gimmicks. They had me again, because yeah, when I was little, he said he's from Mississippi. I thought the man was from Africa. See, it's a gimmick. See, and they had me. Like I thought, what's his name? I thought Yokozuna couldn't talk. I mean, could talk but couldn't really speak English. See, they had you. So, whew, that's something. But assuming the man doesn't know something, though, that's messed up, though. Oh, shit like that, that's wrong.
I stayed away from the rest of the guys, and I was easy to get along with. Never out partying with them and drinking and all that kind of stuff. So, but the black guys that did, they got along with Vince a lot better than I did. I mean, I got along good with them, but they was respected more than I was.
Well, do you know what? Did you see any of the other Afro Americans? Did you see?
I don't keep cutting the man off, but that's another thing. He said he wasn't out there partying, so there's no money to be burning up and drinking and smoking every night. Which he said he didn't do that no way. He said, how can you drink? I mean, how can you spend what ain't there? So yeah, he didn't mess his money up.
More? Do you see they're paying or off, or you know what happened there? Was they treated the same way you were, or is it just because?
Yeah, the few that I saw, they wasn't making. They didn't make what I made. And I even when Junkyard Dog was there, I don't know all his payoff, but when Junkyard Dog was there, Vince used to keep.
He was there with dogs.
Different guys like that with limos and things like that. And poor Junkyard Dog, he drive up in with, you know, have a limousine driver to bring him up to the matches sometime. Old broke down limousine, and they had to call the record to get it and all that kind of stuff. He was trying to keep up. But now myself, I don't believe in trying to keep up.
Mm-hmm. Right.
No, not to put myself in the hole.
Right. And I also heard on one of your radio interviews that where you said that WWE held 15% of your gross in case you decided to leave, you would lose it. Is there
15%?
Yes. When Vince called me himself, not his agents, Vince himself called me back the last time. And he said, I would like for you to come back. He said, I can do good with you. I can do better with you, but I can still do good without you. Those were his exact words. And he said, I would like for you to come back, make yourself a lot of money. You know, I jumped for that. There was nowhere else to go.
Right.
It was the biggest organization. And so I jumped for it. He said, but there's one thing. I would like for you to agree to me taking out 15% of your gross. We'll put it in escrow, and you will get it back during your after your 2 years is finished with interest.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that was no problem. That was putting money in the bank.
Right.
But when I did that, I signed that contract. And that was one of the worst mistakes I ever made. Because after the 2 years was up, my growth, the money that 15% was only $17,000 with interest. So that show you right there that I didn't make no money.
That's not much money.
I have made $50 per night in the WWF.
Wait a minute. $50 per night?
50.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not that smart, but I can count. I can count up to 50.
Oh my goodness.
$50 per night. I have had that.
That's pathetic. That's worse than the independence.
Oh yeah.
They get about
That's
25 on
when they first
independent,
started,
don't they?
1978.
You got paid more with the Jerry Lawler and USWA and all that, right? I mean, I'm
Oh,
sure
yeah.
you got paid a lot more than that.
Probably 20 times more.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's unbelievable. $50. That's kind of an insult.
It was. But I did. And people that I tell this, they can't believe that I made that in the WWF.
Right, right. Now, James, I noticed you walking around your place or your apartment. I see you're kind of, you're crippled. You seem like to me you don't get around good. What's wrong with you? What's happening?
Yeah. Well, for years I wrestled with.
That's it. Okay. Another part. But
Do you like having a PO box but are tired?
all right now. Oh, yeah. This was horrible. This poor guy now. 17,000, and holding it back for 2 years, and he should have had, like I said, over 30,000, holding it back for 2 years. Oh boy, some wrestlers. I guess I don't know what was going on back then, but damn, that is messed up right there. It's crazy.